everyone watching this video who tunes in. I don't speak a lot. I'm gonna start speaking more to YouTube so that we can hopefully open lines of discussion, right? Necessary lines of discussion, right? So let's get to it. Today, my brothers and sisters, is Juneteenth. That's right, June 19th, 1865. Although we were still treated as subhuman in that era, and in many circumstances in today's era, fact and history, our story, provides us with the storied tale of Buffalo soldiers and black Union soldiers, right? Horseback by the hundreds, crusading through the South, going to different plantations, and going to different towns and different land plots and developments where slaves were housed, to let them know that they are no longer made to work for free. There will be no more free labor, and that they were free to earn and live and make decisions on their own. We were no longer properties and pets of the white American man and woman, fostered by European patriarchy. So, in saying that and giving a little bit of background on the reason why we celebrate Juneteenth, it should be stated that this is exclusively a Black American celebration, right? Now, with that being said, we do not mind our Jamaican brothers and sisters and our Haitian brothers and sisters, Trinidadian brothers and sisters, our Ghanaian and Ethiopian and Nigerian and South American brothers and sisters. We do not ostracize you all of you beautiful people. We do not ostracize you from celebrating this event with us. However, there has been a bit of confusion about the origin of the celebration. The celebration is not for you. The celebration is for us. The same way that we celebrate. So celebrate with us. Do not try to dominate or center yourselves into a tradition that belongs to Black Americans. The same way we celebrate Irishmen and Irish women for St. Patrick's Day, the same way that we celebrate Mexican men and Mexican women, their liberation on Cinco de Mayo. The same way we celebrate Jamaican and Haitian Independence Day without centering ourselves and making it a Black American thing, because we have knowledge that it's not, right? So in doing so, we celebrate with you all. And that's all Black Americans on the internet are asking. We are not, when we say we are delineating from the people. And this is definitely a conversation that needs to be expounded upon. We're not delineating from individuals or from, or I should say, from entire cultures, right? We are delineating from the individual mindset of anti-Blackness. Unfortunately, there has been a lot of miseducation, not only within the Black American community, but within all indigenous communities of indigenous peoples. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit today, because it is this miseducation that allows and creates a space for melanated peoples of other cultures to treat Black Americans as if we have no culture, to treat Black Americans as if our culture is expendable and made to be shared with all melanated peoples, while the other groups of melanated peoples proudly covet their own individual cultures without the need to share. Okay? This is a problem, right? And it's in the anti-Black, and here's the thing, a lot of people, foundational Black Americans who have watched these videos of like the young Haitian woman who was being interviewed by a Black American male, and she began to spew these epitaphs that were extremely alarming, extremely hateful, and extremely distasteful in her regard to Black American men and women, right? Now, what we must realize is that although she is not alone in her way of thinking, she was taught this in her home, right? Because she was a young woman. She wasn't a mature woman of her 30s, 40s, 50s. She was a young woman, maybe in her early to mid 20s, which shows that in her lack of real life experience, because she just really, when you're 24, 25, yes, you are an adult, but you just, let's be honest and let's keep it real in the terminology that we use amongst each other. You just jumped off the porch about 5-6 years ago, right? So you don't really have that real world life experience that someone in their 40s or 50s has, right? So you're not winging it, but you still don't have the full grasp on what's happening. So you go on or go forth in life based on what? Based on what you've been taught. Correct? You don't just make up stuff. I mean, a lot of people on the internet, with revisionist history, they make up stuff. But we're talking about just regular, day-to-day living, and the moral compass, the integrity, the ideals, the ideology that you carry on a day-to-day basis is learned. It's learned behavior. Okay? So that's where we need, us as Black Americans, we need, and a lot of people are going to be upset with me behind this one because they feel that we don't need to work with at all. They feel like we need to completely remove ourselves, which is counterproductive. I know a lot of y'all are going to turn this video off of that one, but it's counterproductive. We need to work with melanated peoples worldwide to educate. Because everybody wants a narrative. Everybody wants, we got to change the narrative. In order to change a narrative, there must be education. Okay? We need to implement Black American history from the, not just, I don't want to talk about Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent, Dr. Dre and Michael Jackson and entertainers. Yes, they play a role in Black history as entertainers, but what we need to do is educate our international melanated peoples with information about our inventors, about our freedom fighters, about our legendary scholars, literary scholars, right? Black American history, and this is the reason why I say this, because a lot of people, why would we want to learn about Black American history in Nigeria? I'm in school in Ghana, or I'm in school in Cameroon, and I'm in school in Ethiopia, and I'm in school in South America, Pretoria, South America, and I'm in school in Johannesburg, South America. Why do I need to learn about Black American history? Because if you are not taught about the culture of Black Americans and our deeply rooted history, our intelligence, our resilience, our ability to invent, the just off of inventions alone, right? We've made so many steps to progress the things that we use in modern society today. A lot of the things that we use in modern society today are because of foundational Black Americans. But if no one is taught that, what is the default? Who do all people, not just in America, worldwide, this is a worldwide thing. If you're not taught that a Mexican person invented this, and a Black person invented this, and an Arabic person invented that, if you're not taught that, by default, and this is just the way the world is, this is not an American thing, it's the way the world is, by default, you are made to believe, just by default, that it was created by a white man. Because white supremacy is a system, right? White supremacy is not just an ideology that's carried by white supremacists and Nazis. They are the proponents of the theoretical aspects of white supremacy. But what you have to realize is that white supremacy, racism, white supremacy is a system. It's a system that's in place. It pervades all areas of modern society worldwide, from healthcare, education, law enforcement, and many other facets of society. You know, there's been, since white people colonized and came into power in many countries, on many continents, since, you know, we don't live in a homogenized community like a lot of our Asian brothers and sisters where they come from. It's homogenized. It's, when you're in China, the greater majority of people are Chinese, and they have not been colonized. They run their own government, and they have their own history, and they can trace their history back as far to their creation. You know, that is very case and specific to Asia. That is, the rest of the world was colonized by Europeans. And with the colonization that Europeans forced upon different continents and the countries inside of them, there were systems that were set in place to ensure that the white European male is centered and placed at the forefront of all things. And we still suffer from these systems today. And that's the reason why I say that melanated peoples of all continents and countries inside of said continents should study Black history. So in the event that you decide that you would like to visit America, or maybe even come and live in America, you can understand and have a thorough knowledge of the history and the culture of the people who were born and raised here. Because right now, that is not the case. You know, as seen with the David, how do I say his last name? Oyelowo? Is that how you say his name? Or Oyelowo? Brother David, pardon me if I have mispronounced your last name. I've never been a fan of your work, and I don't follow your work, so I'm not as familiar with you as maybe I should be. So my apologies if I've mispronounced your last name. But when we have incidents like the Godfrey interview with Brother David, and I say Brother David because although he is misinformed, and although he was incorrect in his statements, he is still our brother. And that is a fact. You know, we have a lot of opinions floating around on social media because of the changes in algorithms and the monetization. Now you can say whatever you want to say, And if it brings people in, then you get paid. So you can say something salacious, and when you say something that just riles the people up, you get paid. I don't believe that this is what the young man David was trying to do. He is misinformed. He has played the role of Black Americans, but does not fully know the true history, lineage, and cultural makeup of the Black American. So, in his arrogance, he uplifts and places the Nigerian man and woman above the Black American. He's not the only one. He's not the only one. Black American, I cannot stress this enough. Black American history must be taught to children in Haiti. It must be taught to children in Jamaica. It must be taught to the brothers and sisters in every country in continental Africa. It must be taught in the UK. With all of the mockery and all of the because there's mockery and then there's imitation. With all of the mockery and imitation that we're seeing from Japan and Korea, I'd go as far as to say that it is imperative that Black American history is also taught in schools across Asia, because we have an issue happening now that has been building for many years, where the Asian man truly believes that the Black man should be subservient to him, all while copying and pasting our original forms of entertainment. You have a people who are known, who are widely known to not care for Black people worldwide, right? To not care for melanated people worldwide. But when it comes to our entertainment, they can quite literally, not figuratively, they can quite literally steal, like Pat Boone stole Tutti Frutti and made a new version of Tutti Frutti specifically for white people. Koreans steal Black music, steal songs from Brandy, the singer Brandy, from a foundational Black American from Los Angeles, California. They'll steal music from Usher, a foundational Black American from Chattanooga, Tennessee. They will steal music from Beyonce, a foundational Black American from Houston, Texas, with roots in Louisiana. They will steal our music, make their own Pat Boone version of it, yet still harbor anti-Blackness towards melanated people. This has to change. In the era of the passive Black American is coming to an end quickly. as you can see with the transfers of wealth that's happening here in the United States. A lot of black people born in America that are tired of being treated like second-class citizens are moving to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and they're moving to Bangkok, and they're moving to like all of these black expat groups that you see on YouTube. They're moving to these different countries so that they can be treated equally, and they can live without the fear of being killed by law enforcement, without the fear of being racially profiled while shopping, without the fear of being killed or harassed or physically assaulted by a Nazi. I understand, and I enjoy travel as well, but that is what you call individual victory. You will go to someone else's country. You will flee the country that you built. And leave the other black Americans, excuse my French, leave the other niggas to fight. Let those other niggas fight that battle. I'm tired. I don't want to fight that battle anymore. This is a bad way of thinking, people. We built this country. We deserve to be here. And leaving, becoming a foreigner or an immigrant to another country is not the solution. We need to fix what's happening here. And the era of passivity, again, is coming to a close. But with all of the issues that we have here, and with all of the, with all of the roadblocks that we're experiencing with our current administration, it is up to us to educate ourselves and to apply. Because you can read all of the books. Hey, I see that on Twitter all of the time. Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. It's a app run by a neo-Nazi. Elon Musk's father was the founder of the Canadian Nazi Party. They had slaves in South America growing up. His entire outlook on black people is that of servitude and inferiority. And this is the application that we're using when we're on Elon Musk's Twitter. When you ask Grok, you're supporting a neo-Nazi and putting more money into the pockets of the richest man in the world, who just so happens to be a blithering white supremacist Nazi. Is what it is, right? But what happens is that we have, you got bots, you have CIA agents, you have contrarians who are simply agents of destruction who work for no one, all pouring gasoline onto a fire to support the complete and total separation of black Americans from melanated peoples worldwide. That's not the solution. get on Twitter and you got all of these people that they just show all of the books that they've read. You know, they put all of their books on the floor so that they can show how many books they have and how many books they've read. They put it all on their beds and all on their floors, and these are the books that you need to read. And you know, that's good. You know, I'm glad that you are getting scholarship. You know, receiving scholarship from these literary works. It's super necessary. But more important than reading these books is the application of the knowledge that you've learned from within them. And you can't read a Marcus Garvey book, a Dr. Amos Wilson book, a Dr. John Henrik Clarke book. You can't read these books and then go out into the world and be anti-African just because of the fact that that a lot of Africans view Black Americans in a negative light. Because that means that you're not applying what you've read. What needs to happen is we need to educate the Nigerians who believe that they are above us and that we are beneath them. We need to educate the Ghanaians who tell us to come back home and then charge us extra for everything under a foreigner tax, and we're being taxed as foreigners, although they've told us to come back home. We need education applied, not in theory, in action, in order to correct the state of disarray that we are in. Separating yourself from melanated peoples worldwide is counterproductive. It's counterproductive. We need to respect each other's individual cultural contributions to the world. That's my challenge. If you're a Nigerian watching this, if you're a Haitian watching this, if you're if you're a Mexican watching this, or a Panamanian, or anybody watching this, I challenge you to unlearn the superiority complex that you have fostered for many years with Black Americans. I challenge you to unlearn your superiority complex. And I challenge you to take time to learn about the very special history of Black people in America, foundational Black people. I challenge you. I don't challenge you to a debate. I don't challenge you to a duel. I challenge you to educate yourself so that we may respect and honor each other in our traditions. Because in doing so, we will be able to unite and fight the colonial mindset that has been forced upon us for so many years, for centuries. I'm talking about years, not 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, centuries. We have been taught to put the white man above us. And the white man, in us putting the white man above ourselves, we have also been taught It's the subtle whisper that turns into an echo chamber and a yell in an echo chamber. It's the subtle whisper of, you're West Indian? Hey, those Black Americans are lazy. We can go there and we can build our own communities without them. They're lazy. They don't contribute anything to society but violence. We can go there and build our lives, and we don't need them. Don't look at them as your equal, because they're not. You're better than them. We come here for an opportunity to be better than them. That's what's being taught. Those are the whispers that end up becoming loud yells in an echo chamber. People are taught that in their homes. People are taught that in their homes. And I know that you love your parents and your grandparents, but they were wrong. They were bigoted, and they got that way from racism, white supremacy. To place yourself above a person who looks just like you. Wasn't always this way. I know several hard-working Haitian people from South Florida. Hard-working Haitian people from South Florida. Hustlers. Get out and get to that bread. And they had a lot of problems with Black Americans when they were young, because they're my age. I'm an older gentleman. I'm not a young guy. They had a lot of problems with Black Americans that they share with me. Man, they used to call us this and they used to call us that. Man, we had to, when the Zopound came to light, man, I was like our guiding light. I wish that they hadn't been so criminal, because we could have made that a revolutionary effort. Because, man, they really helped us stick up to the Cubans and the Black Americans and the white people that were treating us like crap. I know you wouldn't do that, but just know that, that's a part of our upbringing down there. Down there, it wasn't good, It wasn't good. Black Americans treated us real bad in the 90s, 80s and the 90s, early 2000s, man. And I say, dang, man, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Although I was not the perpetrator of such foolishness, I apologize for that, because that was misinformation. And they need to unlearn that. So that's the reason why I'm not hateful toward, Caribbean peoples, peoples of African makeup that are here in the country, that are exhibiting or showcasing bigotry and proponents of hate towards Black Americans, because their experiences weren't always great with us folks. And that's what we need to address. We need to address these things, unlearn all of it, so that we may educate ourselves and treat each other better. Because once we start to treat each other better, oh boy, now we're cooking with hot grease. Because at this point, once we're treating each other well, and we have a mutual understanding that we are not each other's enemies, now that creates the allies. That creates the allies. So when peoples of the Dominican Republic are attacking Haitians Black Americans can get in there. It's like, nah. You know, when the Congo is being terrorized, we can form our own military unit staffed with Black Americans, staffed with Jamaicans, staffed with Trinidadians, staffed with Haitians, and go over there and get with them. All under the same umbrella. We have different cultures, different makeups, but once we understand that as a people united, we are strong, you won't be screaming free Congo no more. Because we have militias going over there tearing them up. We got the weapons. We just don't have the education. So I challenge. If you're a person of color, POC, because I'm black. I'm not a POC. I'm not a person of color. I'm a black man from the United States of America. Okay? Let's get that straight. There's POCs, people of color, and then there's black people. Okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. But once we start to figure out a solution that fosters unity, then we can free ourselves from a lot of the problems that we are dealing with in society today. Because without unity, these white people are going to continue to terrorize us. They got mass shootings. Dylan Roof killed 9. He walked into a church and killed 9 people in a church. 9 people in a church. Came out with his gun on him and still lived. These mass shooters, these white boys that be going in shooting places up, they are coveted by race soldiers. Unfortunately, the greater majority of law enforcement, black people included, are race soldiers. They're race soldiers. They have meetings. Now we have to be briefed about what we're doing today, right? They have meetings. And in their meetings, they are told to clamp down on black communities. They never go, I'm a Detroiter, but I'm currently in the state of Arizona. They never have meetings at the precinct in Scottsdale or the precinct in Paradise Valley and in areas like this. Okay, we need to clamp down. And there's plenty of drugs in these areas. There is violence that happens in Scottsdale. But when it comes to the south side of Phoenix, or certain areas in the north side of Phoenix, or certain areas in Mesa where they're heavily populated by poor white people, Mexicans, and black people, the briefing includes the message for them to clamp down on these communities. And what clamp down means is to enforce the law by any measure. So if you have to brutalize, if you have to kill, do it, and we'll back you. That is what's happening in police precincts all over the country, from New York to Miami, Florida, to Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Minnesota, Michigan, California, Arizona, Texas. And there's a better way. But you have to execute the education. You cannot just read a bunch of books and show the books off online for bragging rights that you're smarter or have more scholarship than the person who hasn't read the books, if you're not implementing these ideologies within those books into modern society. Shout out to No Name. No Name from Chicago, Illinois. Yes, she reads a lot, but she implements the teachings. Her mother owned a bookstore. She got it honest. She doesn't brag about the books that she's read. She shares the books that she's read. She sends books to prisons nationwide. So that people who are in the process of reforming their brains can do so with a state of black consciousness. So once they are released and reintegrate into society, they're able to take these theories that they've read and place them into action. That's what it's about. We got to work together. I challenge all people. I can't even just challenge melanated people. I challenge all people to study Black American history so that you can have an understanding of who we are and where we come from and the brilliance that we carry. Don't just listen to Anti the Menace and Baby Kia and all of these wild people that's just telling you how much they kill people and figure that that's how everybody feels in society. Shout out to Baby Kia, shout out to Anti the Menace. Because Spice One was the Baby Kia of my era. We have always had people who made ultra-violent music. You can't stop it because violence is a part of the social experience here. So people are going to talk about it. And when a person doesn't have a great deal of education or a great deal of, moral standings or grounds for ideology, they're going to explain it in a way that makes the most sense to them. The problem is that people are learning from them instead of learning from books that can help them become better. I've done a lot of nasty, bad things in the street. Some was for protection, to keep to preserve my own life. But sometimes there were times when I was on the offense and did really fucked up shit because we was out getting this paper. And they in the way of the paper. I was taught that behavior. I had to unlearn that behavior. I can't lie. Rap music played a huge part in my hustling days. Selling this and selling that and having guns, using guns. That was what we were entertained by. The music that we were entertained by fostered the lifestyle that we were living. And I grew up on X-Clan too. There was Spice One. You talking about what, 93, 94, the murder show. You know what I'm saying? MCA, Spice One, all that. There was Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Spice One, E40, Too Short with the pimp stuff, all that. There was that, but then there was also Brand Nubian. There was also The Large Professor. There was also J. Rule the Damager. You know, there was also the Poor Righteous Teachers. There were plenty of places that I could get born knowledge from our entertainment. And I had knowledge of self, but I was just being crazy and being wild. So I don't blame Baby Kia and all of them, you know, the young guys that's just going crazy right now, you know, all the drill rappers. We're in our second generation of drill rap. It shouldn't have made it out of the first generation. But then white folks put so much money behind the first generation of drill rappers that we're now in the second generation. The first generation of rappers that were killing in real life and making songs about their enemies, they're 30 now. G Herbo and Chief Keef and Dirk and all them, they 30. They grown. They still got to protect themselves and move a certain way so that they can live. Because our society, we live in a wild, violent society, especially when you black and got money. People want to rob you, and then they want to kill you just to be able to say that they did it. So yeah, they got to move a certain way still as adults. But they passed they passed this war onto the young kids. Like I see it in Atlanta a lot. When I'm in Atlanta, I be checking the youngsters out. I be checking them out. And I'm like, wow, man, these kids inherited a lot of the problems that they have. And it's crazy. But yeah, so we're coming close to an hour, and I don't want to go over an hour for this video, but I just want to challenge our people to use their minds. And even though, and this message is specifically for black Americans, I know it's hurtful when you jump on Twitter and you jump on TikTok and you jump on Instagram and you see people, melanated peoples from other cultures, talking down on us. I know it's hurtful. It is. And you want to clap back. And you want to say, man, to hell with all of them. We on our own. And, you know, and if we got to go against them, we'll go against them too. It's easy. That's the easy way. You taking the easy way out. You taking the easy way out by doing that. Let's do the hard work. Let's do the hard work. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to see somebody who look like you talking crazy about you, and we're not taking the high road. We're not being passive. We're taking action. But taking action to educate so that they can unlearn the pathology of they learn that from white. They're to be honest, they're really spewing white supremacist doctrine, right? They'll look at a white supremacist and they'll know that the white supremacist isn't for them, but they'll agree with certain things because of how they feel about us. Like, yeah, you know what? He may be a piece of shit, but he's right about that. You know what I mean? They're not right about that. It's just that you harbor ill feelings towards black Americans. So you're being used. You're allowing yourself to be used by white supremacists in the entire system. Because remember, we go back to the conversation of white supremacy is a system, right? You're allowing yourself to be used by this system against people who look just like you. And I challenge you to knock it off. I challenge you to knock it off. And I challenge Black Americans to keep double down on those TikToks, sharing our history, sharing our culture, and not sharing it in a way where it's like, oh, okay, you can come on in, and you can come on in and be a part of this. No, sharing it so that people can know what we are and who we are and how beneficial we are to the entire makeup of not just the United States of America, but the entire world. We influence the entire world. We influence the entire world. If we didn't, people would not be coming from other countries to live here to seek a better life. Uhuru.